Hello and welcome to another absolutely fabulous edition of It's a Sports Show. As always, Scott Cray alongside me, Dolphin Paul. DP, we got a lot to talk about. 90% of it is baseball because last week we closed the curtain on what is known as the football season. Done. It's done.
Don't even mention that.
Done.
Don't even mention that.
Just so you know, the fans, they'll hear more as time goes on, but right now it's pretty much all baseball. And, you know, after that little cheap 2-game series against the Yankees back in Fenway a week ago, where we only played one game because one got rained out, we beat up on them a little. Felt all right, but not as good as last night's beating. At the time we're taping this, folks, it's Wednesday. We're talking about last night's beating of the New York Yankees by the Boston Red Sox, and I mean beating 14-3. George Steinbrenner ticked off. The Red Sox happy. Now people will have seen tonight's game. We haven't seen it, so who knows what could happen. The Yankees are known to rebound well, but fresh in our heads right now, that 14-3 win sure does feel good.
Sure does feel good. The only thing I would caution people against is,
Getting a little too
well, I mean, whether it was 14-3 or 1-0.
Right.
It's one win, so,
Well, hey.
But, I mean, don't get me
track here.
Don't get me wrong. It's good.
Red Sox
it's
this
good
year.
beating the Yanks. There's no doubt about that. And spanking them. But
against, by the way, one of their aces, Randy Johnson, who's coming into the season was the ace, although he doesn't look that way.
He's pitching terrible.
Yeah, he is.
I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say he's done, cooked.
At the end of this year, finished,
I think he's going to struggle through the whole year. He's just an older guy. I don't think he intimidates anybody anymore. I mean, I know it's easy to say after last night's game, but come on. I mean, he had a 3-0 count on the 8 and 9 hitters twice. I was watching Gonzalez there, and I'm thinking, well, he's coming up against Randy Johnson. This is an automatic out. I mean, it's 3-0. He throws up a lollipop.
Yep. Not expecting
Alex Gonzalez.
Not expecting Gonzalez to go after it.
Oh, but the thing just hung up there. It was just
and
a
the Red
bad
Sox
pitch.
gave him a green light to go ahead. If you see something, swing at it, and he did.
I mean, you got a number 9 guy, especially guys struggling like that. You got to throw heat by him. And Randy Johnson was just all over the place.
Right.
He also seemed a little perturbed with A-Rods, which we'll get to errors in the field. Which
not just A-Rod. They were just to give people an idea. Of course, 14 runs the Red Sox scored. 6 of those were unearned runs. They had 12 errors coming in, which was the second fewest in all of Major League Baseball. Again, 12 errors, and of course they made 2 big ones yesterday. That 2-run error out in the outfield where they recalled, I don't know if he's a rookie or not even a rookie yet. He's a 21-year-old guy out playing the outfield for Gary Sheffield, who's on the DL.
Cabrera.
He lost the ball. Is that who it is, Cabrera?
Yeah.
He lost the ball. Don't know where he lost it, but
that comes in for Gary Sheffield, drops his first fly ball. Albeit there was a little confusion there.
Am I reading this right? Melky Cabrera?
Melky.
I
would
Is this dude's real name?
Melky Cabrera.
He needs to come up with something good. What were you saying about it looking confusing?
Well, I was saying that it was a pop-up, and he gets a small benefit of the doubt because it looked like the second baseman was going to catch the ball. Didn't, but I mean the thing popped dead square in his glove. So it was just bad baseball by the Yankees. And if you're a Yankee fan, I think the biggest concern in all seriousness is Randy Johnson, and probably A-Rod's inability to come up big against the Red Sox.
Yeah,
he has not performed well against the Red Sox. You're getting $25 million. Man, at least play the damn field. Can we say that on cable?
Yeah, you just did. Last night's game proved that not only was he having an issue not hitting, but now he's not doing his job at third base. Like you're saying, he caused, let's see, that outfield one was a 2-run error. A-Rod last night made a pair of errors at third, so I don't remember how many runs that cost, but it was
well, Ortiz, he makes an error against Ortiz, who, let's face this, is not the grease lightning running down the first.
Exactly.
And Ortiz is safe, so...
How about on that, by the way, let's back up a little. We need to give someone credit. That pop-up that Melky Cabrera dropped, okay, did you hold your breath for a moment, Red Sox Nation and Dolphin Paul, and wonder if Manny ran this one out, only to take a look at that television set and see that the dude was standing on second base? What in the world is going on with Manny Ramirez all of a sudden?
You're right. The one thing I was thinking is, well, this pop-up's going to take long enough. I mean, it was in the air for like hours.
Right.
That Manny's at least going to get
long
to
enough
first.
For Manny to make it to
even
second.
Even if he jogs.
Right.
But
that was pretty cool.
The Red Sox right now, I mean, flipping fields, their defense has been stellar lately.
Yes, I said that 2 weeks ago.
I think they're like second only to Twins, and in errors. They've gone on either maybe a 7-game errorless streak or so.
Right.
He said either 7 or 8. And so they're playing some solid D, getting some good pitching, although Matt Clement, as we learned today, Wednesday, not too happy. Now, this is a little bit of a change. The Red Sox has usually never adjusted to the Yankees as far as their rotation.
Right.
They've been steadfast. So Clement is kind of out of this series, and Schilling went after Beckett, which, hey, it's the Yankees. So
you can't. I mean,
but
yeah,
Clement's
you're gonna
a
end up
little
getting
ticked
hurt.
off.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're gonna play him a whole bunch of times. I mean, settle down. We're winning games. That's all that really matters. There's no need to be selfish. I'll tell you, we talked about the Yankees' weakness, and it was the depth of their pitching staff. Now, prior to the season starting, we were saying this, and Mike Mussina has stepped up to the plate. This dude's been unbelievable this year, and there is no sign whatsoever that he's going to step down. However, with the demise of Randy Johnson and the way he's been on again, off again, it kind of balances things out. They got no one else after that. Am I missing someone in the Yankee rotation that deserves more credit than Mussina and/or Johnson at this point? There's just no names out there.
Well, Ching-Ming Was pitched okay.
Yeah.
They're. Yeah, I mean, they're not. We said that at the beginning. Give us pitching. I mean, we've talked about that all the time. Come up with good pitching. That's why we've talked about the. We're not going to revisit the whole thing, but Arroyo, we talked about. I'd rather have pitching all the time. I mean,
right.
Look at the difference this year. The Red Sox have almost the same record as last year.
Yep.
And last year, now, in retrospect, looking back at him, we probably should give him more credit than he deserved because they were bashing the ball.
Right.
But last year, you had Folk, forget it, his mind and body was somewhere else. Schilling, let's face it, he wasn't ready to pitch.
And people were giving him the
struggled
pass
the whole
on
year.
that.
He's there. Now they got Josh Beckett, who, by the way, Josh Beckett, we haven't mentioned anything about.
Right.
Pitched a pretty good game last night, throwing some heat.
Yeah.
He retired with 12 out of the last 13 batters, I believe.
And prior to that last start, he had 3 bad starts before that, and the questions were coming up. But he looked like a good, healthy Josh Beckett last night. I still need to see a little more than just that one start. If he strings together 2 or 3 or 3 out of 4, then I'll be happy knowing that Josh Beckett's back on track.
Yeah, but still, he's 3-1 with a 4.86 ERA. I mean,
That's a high ERA. He's lucky to get the Red Sox run support.
Yeah, but it's not like he went 0-3 the last 3 games. He had a couple old decisions.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like the David Wells syndrome over here. When you have a lot of runs for yourself, that makes your win-loss record better, but that's going to be a lot more inconsistent than you pitching well enough to get the win. I'd almost not mind if he was 0-3 with a 2.5 ERA because the Red Sox are going to bash the ball and hit runs. You know what I mean? That ERA kind of scares me a little. But if he pitches like he just did, then we'd be fine.
He pitched well against the Yanks. That's all I need to know. And
absolutely.
You have to take these things as they come. And,
as exciting as this bashing of the boss's team was, I still feel because of all the errors and the unearned runs, we're playing well, pitching well, defense is outstanding, and we're hitting the ball, but the Yankees really lost this game themselves. You know what I mean? It could have been a lot closer game.
It's more of an aberration. Let's face it. That's exactly what I said at the beginning of the show. Let's not get too carried away that the Yankees stink. I mean, they're 18-12. They're 7-3 the last 10. They traditionally bounce back after these lousy games, but great matchup. But tonight, and of course, by the time our viewers see this show, we'll have known the results.
What is this, a 3-game set now?
3-game set, so they'll have known the results. But Kurt Schilling and Mike Mussina, like I said, people will have known the result. But that's a good baseball matchup to watch.
Absolutely. If you don't want to watch that game, if you have the ability to, then you're truly not a baseball fan. Because here's 2 old school guys, and we got a nice little list now, 5 or 6 of them in the mix. And here's 2 of them going head to head, pitching the best they've pitched in a long time. We heard, what's his name, Schilling say that a couple of games ago was the best game he's possibly pitched in his life. To hear that at his age is unbelievable.
Oh, he pitched well the other night. He was getting a lot of strike calls, and he was always around the plate. So, I mean, this is a good matchup. But, I mean, if you're a Yankee fan and you win the next 2, that first game's not going to mean squat. It really isn't. And so, I mean, for the Sox tonight, if they could pull off this win, 2 out of 3, that's what you want. So, I mean, I don't know if they're changing their philosophy a little bit because last year, if you remember, they lost the Yankees series by 1 game, I believe. I think it was 10-9 out of 19 games. So
after getting a quick jump in those early April games. Thank God, by the way, that there isn't the whole 8 games in 12 days in April. This is much better to see it this way where We kind of got ripped off on that 2-game schedule, which I thought was kind of lame to have a 2-game set anyway.
It's a little tease.
Yeah, but it ended up being a very little tease because we only saw 1 game. Now we got a nice 3-game set in May. Weather's still kind of crappy in both locations, and that's an advantage to us, I think, because the Yankees just are not seeming to play well in those early season games, especially against the Red Sox, especially A-Rod, like you pointed out earlier. This dude has some sort of stigma that when he goes against the Red Sox, he just cannot pull it off with the bat.
He's a girly man.
He's a girly man.
He's a girly man.
He is a ball slapper, as far as, he slapped the glove.
He's a ball slapper, absolutely.
Remember that? Hey, the boss, Mr. Steinbrenner, in typical fashion, left in the 8th inning, then stuck around to talk to reporters and blasted his team like he always does, saying, quote, "I'm upset with a lot of them," before adding, "the third baseman." Doesn't say a darn thing about Randy Johnson, who's been pitching like crap, but he sure is ticked at A-Rod. And A-Rod just says, overall, we just had an awful game. I had a really bad game. So what do you think about Steinbrenner tossing out his main man? And when we talk salary versus stats, A-Rod is the main man on this Yankees team. He just threw him under the bus.
That's typical boss to, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And, in a way, you've got to kind of admire him for that. I'm surprised. Hey, listen here. I mean, he threw out the man he pays the most money to, and
right.
He deserves to be called out. I mean, I know it's early in the season, and sometimes we make more out of the Red Sox Yankees. But anytime the Red Sox play the Yankees, it's a big deal. And when you got your guy $25 million, especially coming off last year's, last few series he's played against the Red Sox, hasn't really done much. Now 2 errors in a game like that. I mean, that's pretty bad. So
especially when those errors start costing you runs at a time when you need to step up and perform to that role. Hey, the dude's playing third base. He needs to be able to play third base, plain and simple.
No, I mean, he's definitely a better fielder than what he showed. He should be. Whether he's playing third base, center field, or first base, those errors were still inexcusable. So, but the boss, I mean, that's typical boss reaction. You had to figure something was going to come out.
Typical Georgie.
Like Typical
Georgie. Talk a little bit more about those Yankees. As long as Gary, don't call me the juicer, Sheffield, is not in the lineup and he's on the 15-day DL as of right now, things will look better for us because this guy could tear it up right now in the lineup. And as long as he's out, that's good for us. Maybe kind of evens out a little because we're missing our guy, Coco Crisp, too.
Sheffield is no doubt a dangerous hitter. He's one guy that I fear in the Yankee lineup. I really
everyone fears him, even though even his teammates, because he's a raging lunatic. Because he's on the juice, Jen!
I don't know.
Jen's a
Yankee fan, a producer.
We're lucky. She's lucky we allow her in the same building producing this show.
I think it's the. I don't know if it's the bat waving. He's just
That drives
intimidating.
you yeah.
He's just intimidating. If I was a pitcher,
Jen's got something to say.
Here we go.
What do you got to say, Jen? She's hitting the buttons. She's shutting us off. We're probably not even on right now. Anyway.
You know any sign language?
Yeah, right.
Sheffield's on the juice.
Yeah, bat waving can be kind of scary.
Well, no, I think it's just, he's a big guy, and the way he stands up there waving that bat, and especially if there's guys on base, every time you're up there, you always wait for that big hit.
Right.
I mean,
because he pulls through.
He's a good hitter.
As long as he's not in the lineup, that's good things for us.
Absolutely.
You've got some statistics in front of you. Anything you want to barrel off? Any great stats for our audience that you know?
No, not really. The one thing
Johnny Gomes eats 4 fried eggs, and the average fried eggs
none
eaten
of
by
those. Those are
Major
the most
League
reserved
Baseball.
for football.
Oh, thank God.
Baseball's a long season, and
we knew
we
that
have
was
plenty
coming.
of time for that. But I kind of looked at the paper today, and I thought Loretta, who seems to have been on a tear. And I apologize for not having this because either his average was real low, but he's been hitting the ball pretty well.
He's been coming through in clutch situations.
That he's only batting .256, but
right.
He's been hitting the ball. And I'll tell you what, another guy that I'd like to talk about real quick is Kevin Youkilis. I mean, I thought this guy was a run-of-the-mill, is what he is. He's playing pretty solid right now as a leadoff.
What's his OBP right now? Is that there at all or not? Because the reason I say that is because last week I kind of called out Youkilis.
I have an OBA. I don't have an OBP.
The heck's an OBA? On base average?
I would imagine that would be the same thing. It's
what is
434.
Okay. Oh, see, that's not bad. I kind of called him out a
37
little.
hits, 19 runs. I mean, he's batting .330. So
the thing is, for some reason, I had this wrong impression with him because it seemed like for a guy that is in the leadoff spot, assuming that still at this point that we're talking, he's still in the leadoff spot, stepping up for Coco Crisp. It just felt like he wasn't doing the typical Johnny Damon-esque stuff you need to do, the typical Derek Jeter-esque stuff you need to do.
Who's that, Euclid?
Yeah, as far as getting that pitch count for that pitcher up a little, looking at a lot of pitchers, reporting back to your team when you get. Maybe I'm wrong with that OBP or OBA. Obviously 434 is
where
pretty
he
darn
struggles
high.
is when he gets on base. He doesn't have Coco Crisp speed.
Right.
I mean,
which is fine because you know what? Coco Crisp speed only goes so far if the Red Sox are not going to use his speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you still would like to have that first guy up there for, setting the table.
To get to first to
third.
third.
Get to first. I mean, he can create a little havoc. He can come home from second. Although Euclid, listen, right now I'm pretty impressed with him. I mean, he's doing pretty well. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought he's a utility guy. I was never really impressed with him. I know we talked about.
That's against the grain of what a lot of Red Sox Nation thinks because they love the guy last year, especially every time he came up.
Well, yeah, but he came up. But he came up. But I mean, it was always I always considered him a utility guy.
Right.
I didn't think he ever did anything fantastic. He got a hit here or there.
Right.
I thought he was another Merlone type maybe, but I'll tell you what, he's really contributing to this team.
Yeah.
As a leadoff guy, he's doing well. Mike Lowell, another guy who's hitting 339, and you called that.
I know.
Early on from Florida, you wanted him to get back to his old form. He's playing well. So
how many home runs does he have? Because that's what I was really calling him out for, the 339.
He's only got 2.
All right, so see, that's where I thought he was going to pull off more. Then again, I thought he'd be somewhere different in the lineup.
It's good that these guys are picking up the slack because Big Poppy right now, his average has dropped to 256. He's only got like one hit in the last 20 at-bats, which is kind of
But you know what? Manny has picked it up.
Right.
And at the beginning of the season, Poppy was doing it, Manny wasn't. And I'm fine with that. You know why? Because it's all about balance. If one's doing it and not the other, that's okay. Ideally, you'd like to see both of them doing it. But the problem is, if both of them get hot at the same time, guess what? They both get cold at the same time. And if they both get cold at the same time, we've seen it before, runs do not get produced by this team. You need at least one or the other hitting the ball. And that's fine. That's what's going on right now. You talked about Lowell, and what'd you say he was batting? About 250, 260?
No. Are you talking about Loretta or Lowell?
Oh, Loretta, rather.
Loretta's batting
with the
256 as of
with the
Wednesday
defense
morning.
he plays, I'm fine with that. I wouldn't want 3 infielders batting that, but I'm fine with Loretta batting 256. If he stays in that 250 to 270 range, that's fine with me. Because how many defensive players are really good defensively and are going to smack 320 with a bunch of jacks? It's not going to happen.
Gonzalez.
Well, come on now. There are exceptions to the rule. I said how many, and that's who you come up with? 1?
Well, not even 1. Gonzalez bet 207. So it was kind
Don't
of a
even
joke,
go
but
there.
I guess went right over your head.
Don't even
Boy,
go
but
there.
you're real sharp today, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, man, I'm out of it. It's because all I want to do is talk about Dimitri Young. Any other overall standings from Major League Baseball you care about? I saw the Twins suddenly suck. What's the deal with that? They have an under 500 record.
Yeah,
and they're not
the
even
Twins are 14-19. They're struggling.
Is that the same division as Detroit?
Yes.
Okay, so Detroit's up in that division.
Detroit's 7 games over 500.
I've had more time this year to watch baseball than I ever have in my life, and fortunately, mostly Red Sox, obviously. But I say unfortunately because I'd really like to see other teams that I don't get to see. Being that this is the most baseball I've ever watched, I've grown to really love National League Baseball. They have great pitching. Everybody talks about American League versus National League, and that you take the top 5 against the top 5, and the American League will take it all day long. Well, that's because of the sticks that they swing. But if you look at just the way the game is played, there's a little more small ball, a lot more pitching. The National League's a lot of fun to watch, and Detroit and Chicago are 2 great examples of that.
I would agree with that, except for the I'm not too fond of having a pitcher bat.
Yeah.
I mean that's in most cases.
And that's what makes National League pitching that much better.
Unless Arroyo, the power hitter, is up. In most cases, it's almost a guaranteed. But
you make a good point because we talked about Randy Johnson, and not that he has failed throughout Yankee time that he's been there, but that's got to contribute a little. Coming to the AL, you don't have the crappy 8th spot and the really crappy 9th spot, except for Arroyo. So here in the American League, your 1 through 9 is usually pretty darn good, especially when you're facing lineups like Boston and Toronto.
Well, especially when you're an older power pitcher. I mean, I know the Rockets done well, and Zaraki is another guy that we could talk about, but
He's sitting on the bench right now on my fantasy team. I'm hoping for the best.
Rocket's going to go under my fruit tree, I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, no.
But Randy Johnson's getting up there in age. I mean,
Right.
he's an intimidating pitcher. I know it's early, but I think he's going to struggle. That's
You have good reason to worry because he hasn't been the same.
And the Yankees are on the hook for him for this year and next year for
Yep.
$37 million.
lot of dough.
Have fun with that one, guys.
It was funny that Steinbrenner doesn't throw him under the bus, though. Only Young. Probably because the dude would knock down Steinbrenner's door. And
I was
bash
kind of
his skull.
surprised about that. But the White Sox only lost 9 games. The West is not that strong. Detroit 20-13. National League, the Mets. Hey, Pedro. I'd love to see Pedro get back into the series.
Pedro stopped from getting his 6th win. He was a no decision, so he's still 5-0 with a ridiculous ERA at this point. Went up against Brett Myers, who pitched
you've got to
extremely
admire
well.
the guy. Cincinnati, St. Louis, Houston, all with pretty good records. And out west, Colorado at 20-14. And Arizona, San Fran, LA, who cares?
Exactly.
Nomar gets a hit once in a while.
Once every 25 at bats.
But as far as Clemens, I know, we've been talking a lot about baseball, and we don't have a tremendous amount of time. But this, can I make an opinion? Real quick opinion here.
Well, don't make one. Why don't you give
Well, because
one?
it's been all over the radio yesterday with Roger Clemens and his wife renting a house in Cape Cod, and
Yep.
it's close to Boston, it's close to New York. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the drama, Roger Clemens. Are you gonna play or not?
Right.
Would you bring Roger Clemens? Yeah, it'd be nice to have him in the lineup for the rest of the year. I don't care if they pay.
You're going to pay $20 million, though?
Well, I don't care because we pay money for that.
Yeah,
That's my
I know.
thing.
You have a big theory about who cares how much you pay. It's not your money.
But I'm just
you
tired.
go to the ballpark and
I'm
buy a
just
$10
tired
hot
of it.
dog.
I'm just tired of it.
No, I know. And
Well,
you-
he might come in, his big drama. He's going to go to Houston. He's going to go to New York. After last night, I wouldn't be surprised to see George
Right.
stepping up his efforts. Don't forget, they don't have to give up anything up. This is strictly
It's just money.
just money situation.
And
I'm
what
rambling out
team
here,
would not
slurring my
know
words,
something about money than the New York Yankees?
But
you know what I mean?
what I want to see Red Sox. I mean, Clemens on the Red Sox. I don't know. I just say
It can
Rocket,
go either way. If he
Rocket,
comes, he comes.
Retire off with Anthony.
Don't say that,
Cruz.
man.
Oh, come
need
on.
him-
I'm tired
I
of
need
it.
him-
Make up your mind.
I need him to. He's going to stay in Houston. He has
And
no reason not
And then if
to.
he pitches, is he going to pitch? Is he not going to go on road games? I mean, do you have to face the team and ask them?
Right.
Hey, listen, you guys mind if we bring in Roger, but you can only play on Monday mornings and Friday night? I
don't think they'll care. I don't think they'll care.
Nah,
Especially if he stays
Don't
in
want
Houston.
him.
Here's the thing about. So now you don't want him.
Don't want him.
You don't care for him.
Don't care for him. Don't get me wrong. Love the Rocket Man. One of the greatest pitchers of all time, if not right up there.
Right.
I think a world of his ability, obviously. I mean,
But the drama's a bit too much
I'm making
for
the
you.
biggest understatement in the world. Me a peon calling Roger, a great pitcher. But yeah, I just don't go for this. Almost this Brett Favre drama.
All this drama.
Yeah,
Exactly. He's trying to raise
It's
his.
going to be a special
trying to
day. It's
raise
going to
the
be more
dough.
of a circus than anything
This is
else.
his last payday for his kids and grandkids.
Well, how about that? I mean, I was thinking about this earlier today. How about being a pitcher, pitching half the year for $20 million? That's a good gig. That's a good gig.
Got that right. For that amount of money, he should want to go anywhere. He's going to stay in Houston, dude. You think Red Sox Nation loves him, okay? Houston thinks the world of him. I'm surprised they haven't renamed
about his
Houston
wife?
Rocket Town.
4 minutes.
Renting a house in Cape Cod.
They got money to blow. They probably just did that just to do it.
Stay
Just to
tuned. Stay
throw
tuned.
that whole thing in there.
All
don't
right,
know.
I just had to let that. I get to get that off my.
Let's talk about Delman Young real quick. Not only the top prospect for your Tampa Bay Devil Rays, but, well, they got to be somebody's Tampa Bay Devil Rays. One of the hottest prospects in all of Major League Baseball has had a couple of off-field issues. Nothing major, but they've been there. Tosses a bat at an ump.
Major.
Whacks the ump, which was funny, by the way. Were we talking about that footage, how you saw him go off screen and then you just saw a bat come across the screen and hit the umpire? Here's the sentencing to Mr. Delman Young. 50 games without pay. He earns $500,000, which is one of the highest paychecks you could possibly get in that league. We're talking about the International League here.
Yeah, we were looking at that before the show started, and you
Crazy
said 500.
money.
And I asked you 500.
Right.
That's pretty good pay for a minor leaguer.
So he makes $500,000. This suspension is going to cost him approximately 145 grand. So pretty
Which
big
is a
chunk.
lot.
That's a lot of
you
dough.
know, that's not like a Kenny Rogers getting $15 million a year
Right.
and being fined $10,000
Right.
for pushing the camera out of the way.
145 on
I mean,
500. You're talking more than a quarter of your paycheck.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of dough. He's got to do a minimum. Get a load of this. 50 hours of community service. Okay, so we find all this out. Longest suspension in all of the International League history. Never been done before. Now this has hurt his chances with Tampa Bay because they're about fed up with him, and they're flat out embarrassed. This guy was looking to be called up this year any time now, and he pulls this off. Now, over to the Delman Young side, he says, no, I don't really think I have anger management issues. I'm competitive. I just let the emotions get a little better than me sometimes. I've got to control that. Yeah, you cannot throw bats at umpires. Imagine if he did that in the major leagues. He thinks 50 days would be bad. This guy would get more than that. He'd probably be facing a year's suspension.
In fairness to him, he did realize his mistake right away. He went in, he called his management and said, look, I think he knew.
Of course he did.
It's like one of those things when you say something or you do something and right after you go, uh-oh.
Doesn't make it better, though. I mean,
No, it doesn't make it better, but he's still very young, so I'm not going to, I think it's certainly a mind-boggling suspension. I mean, this will show they don't tolerate it.
Right. And they needed to for this kid.
I mean,
for him
the
to grow
officials
up.
are protected in these games, and they should be, as much as we like to rag on the umpires and referees in football and so forth. But, I mean, this isn't, and I'm a big soccer fan, per se, and the World Cup's coming up. Maybe we'll talk about that.
There's already
a little
been
bit
violence at the World Cup. The thing just
but-
started.
But that's what I'm saying. They protect the officials here, which they should.
Right.
And you just can't have, the guy throwing a bat. That just can't happen. So I agree with the suspension. He's just going to have to learn to curb
You think
his.
this guy's going to cool it off eventually, or what?
I think eventually. 1 minute already?
Man, time flies when you're having fun.
Stanley Cup playoffs. Joe Thornton's up 2-0, baby, on Edmonton. I want Joe Thornton to win the whole thing.
People care
Stick it
less
to the
about
Bruins.
that than they do the NFL draft, for crying out loud. Any other great information you have for us in the last 20 seconds?
Yeah.
NHL.
Joe Thornton up 2-0 on Edmonton, baby.
National, who cares?
Come
league.
on, San Jose. I want to stick it to the Bruins.
Well, there you have it, folks. On the side of Dolphin Paul, I'm Scott Cray. Thanks to Mitch, and don't call me Red Sox fan Jen. I'm Scott Cray. It's a sports show at yahoo.com. I almost forgot it. Thanks for watching.